we read that Jesus left the holy city, went out and sat upon the Mount of Olives. His disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Matthew 24 and verse 3, three questions. When shall these things be? They had reference to the destruction of the holy city, which occurred 40 years after. In 70 A.D., destroyed by Titus of the Romans. There was not left one stone upon another that was not thrown down. And the second question, what shall be the sign of thy coming? And the third question, of the end of the age. And then Jesus said in Matthew 16 and verse 3, O ye hypocrites! And all the hypocrites are not dead. O ye hypocrites! Ye can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? I'm speaking very briefly tonight on the signs of the times. Signs of the close of this dispensation. The signs of the coming of Jesus. If I understand the Scriptures, this is a very timely message. Very timely. We read in 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days, that is, in the close of this age, scoffers. They're here. Their name is Legion. There are many. Walking after their own lusts and saying, where is the promise of his coming? We don't see any sign. Of course they don't. For dead people never could see. Since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. Did you know that modernistic preachers are fulfilling this prophecy in these last days? They aim their guns at the holy head of the Lord Jesus. They try to strip him of his deed and accuse Mary of being the mother of an illegitimate child, which is no less than gross blasphemy. They laugh at the blood, they deny his resurrection, and scoff and ridicule the blessed hope of the church, the coming of Christ. Then we read in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4, But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. In this prophecy, I see two signs of the end time. First, I see a sign of travel. Many shall run to and fro, said the angel to the prophet 2,500 years ago. And this prophecy has been fulfilled before your eyes and mine. We've never had such a time of travel in Earth's history as we've known during the last 2 or 3 generations. We travel in automobiles a mile a minute, at times faster. We travel on trains a mile a minute, sometimes faster. We travel on ships from 20, 40 knots an hour and sometimes faster. We travel in the air from 5 to 10 miles a minute, sometimes faster. We travel in the air, on the earth, under the earth, on the seas, and under the seas, so fast that it seems that the inhabitants of this earth have been possessed with a mania for travel. Speed is the 20th century keynote. Some man said some time ago he thought the world was going to hell on wheels. And I don't think he missed it very much. Many shall run to and fro, said the angel to the prophet, when at the time of the end, in the close of the age, just before Jesus comes back. And then we read another sign in this prophecy, and knowledge shall be increased. This is an educational sign. And this prognostication of 2,500 years ago has been fulfilled before your eyes and mine. During the last 2 or 3 decades, men have made amazing and rapid strides in science, invention, and discoveries of every kind. Institutions of learning have covered the land, colleges, universities, and seminaries. There's really no excuse for ignorance anymore. A person can even sit in his home be educated. Think of the free press, the dailies, the radios, the magazines. A child 15 years old today knows more than his grandparents did at the age of 50. Why? Knowledge has been increased. And what does it mean? The time of the end, the close of the age, the second coming of Christ, and the marriage supper. Then over in Nahum we read chapter 2, verse 3 and verse 4. The chariot shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in the broad ways. They shall seem like torches and run like the lightnings. When? Let the prophet answer, in the day of his preparation. Did you know the first automobile appeared on the streets of Chicago just 70-some years ago? Why so long without a car? The time hadn't come. In 1892, we had but 2 registered passenger cars in this nation. And tonight, we have more than 70 million motor vehicles, nearly 1 million gas stations, 4 million miles of highway road, enough to circle this globe 160 times. We spend $20 billion annually on automobiles, $10 billion for gasoline, and ride 600 billion miles. You say, what does that mean? Not a thing to the multitudes. They sin on and flirt on and reject on the way to the end. Let me read this prophecy in our everyday speech. I like this. It's very simple. The automobile shall rage in the streets. That is, in the streets of the cities. See anything like that going on? Well, you can hardly find a parking place in most cities. Parking is one of the problems of the last days. Second, they shall jostle one against another on the highways. That means accidents. Read your newspapers. You don't have to have a BD to understand this, my friend. This is very simple. And third, they shall seem like torches. They're brilliant lights by night. And fourth, they shall run like the lightnings. That means fast, swiftly, just before Jesus comes back. In the day of his preparation. That's a red flag, brother, sister. But be careful how you ride by. If you have any concern for your soul and for the marriage supper, you better be careful how you ride by these flags. Then over in Isaiah we read chapter 60 and verse 8. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? What a prophecy! And what a question! And why so long without an answer? The time hadn't come. This question was answered, if you remember, by the Wright brothers in December 17, 1903, on the top of Killdevil Hills in Dare County, south of Kitty Hawk, eastern North Carolina, just 50 miles east of my own hometown. I have stood on the spot again and again while this prophecy was fulfilled. It makes a person feel strange to stand where prophecy has been fulfilled. No wonder people go there from all parts of the world. It's very historic. And just think what has happened in the airplane business in less than 80 years. It's almost unbelievable. But facts are facts. We can eat breakfast in New York City and lunch in Miami, Florida. We can cross the continent between the suns. I was coming up from the Lakeland camp down in Florida some time ago and stepped into a drugstore on Monday morning and picked up a newspaper and read where 2 jets the day before had flown non-stop across the U.S. from west to east, 2,400 miles in 3 hours and 34 minutes. An average speed of more than 670 miles per hour. Nearly 12 miles a minute from California to Langley Field, Virginia. Brother, sister, that beats horse and buggy days, doesn't it? And we can fly either ocean in a day or night. Back in May of '57, I read where 3 young U.S. Air Force pilots had steak and eggs for breakfast in England and dinner that afternoon in Los Angeles. They dashed across both the Atlantic Ocean and the American continent non-stop, 6,710 miles in 14 hours and 5 minutes. And just a few weeks ago, sometime this summer, I read in the paper where Major Bob White climbed into his X-15 rocket-powered plane and streaked to a new speed mark of 3,690 miles per hour, more than a mile a second. No wonder he lost 5 pounds of weight in 11 minutes. The one that hadn't lost his neck, isn't it? We can circumnavigate the earth in less than a week. If my memory serves me correctly, Miss Martin, back in December 1953, flew a commercial airline around this globe in 3 days, 18 hours, and 58 minutes. And I was in a revival at Asbury College some time ago, and as I was driving away, I picked up the Cincinnati Post and read where 3 B-52 Stratofortresses had just circled the globe, non-stop, 24,325 miles in 1 day, 21 hours, 19 minutes. That Dux with 12 big engines and carries many 169 persons at the time, has a generating force of 7,000 horses. Think of 7,000 horses hung on to one machine. That's what I call power. Plane that has a kitchen, a dining room, sleeping quarters, toilet conveniences, and a dance hall 60 feet long. It's a flying hotel. And it does mean a thing to the multitudes. But to the man who loves the blessed hope, it's a sign of the times. A sign of the close of this age. A sign of the coming of Jesus and the marriage supper. And I can't afford to miss it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I can't afford to miss it. Then Jesus speaks of military signs over in Matthew 24, verse 6 and verse 7. Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And when I stopped to think of the war of 1914-18, I decided that Jesus knew what he was talking about in Matthew 24, 6 and 7. While that war lasted, we're told, it cost $7 million an hour. That means $200 for every minute that has been ticked off since Jesus Christ was born in Bethlehem 1,960 years ago. The U.S. War College has estimated $194 billion to be the direct cost of World War I. And they tell us $194 billion in silver could load a freight train with 200,000 cars, each car carrying 30 tons or 60,000 pounds of silver. They tell us that $194 billion in $20 bills could be wrapped around this earth 35 times at the equator and could reach nearly 3.5 times the distance of the moon. The average distance of the moon, as you know, is 238,000 miles. That's nearly 1 million miles of $20 bills that we spent in 4 years to slay human life. Both the direct and indirect cost of World War I was $350 billion. It cost the U.S. alone $58 billion. A tax-burdened world is still paying on her first World War debts. But that's not the sad part of the story. That war left 10 million persons dead, 20 million wounded, 6 million prisoners or missing. It seems to me this old world should have learned her lesson, but she didn't. She didn't learn anything. We sin on and flirt on and reject on and trifle on our way to the end. We don't have any time for the Bible, no time for prayer, no time much for revival anymore. We're too busy with other matters. 20-some years. This is hard to believe too, but this is so. Only 20-some years and another war, World War II, and $1 trillion. 5 times the cost of World War I. And millions of husbands and fathers and sweethearts who never came home. And it seems for the few months to me since VJ Day. And what do we have tonight? The whole world stands on tiptoe, my friends, watching the moves in the east and in the west. War clouds hang low. They're black, and they're about to burst. The handwriting is on the wall tonight. Nations are beating the plowshares and the swords and the pruning hooks into spears tonight. We cry peace and build planes and guns and bombs. We cry peace, peace, when there is no peace. There is no peace, saith my God, to the wicked. There is only one person who brings real peace to this old troubled world, and that is He who spoke peace to the stormy billows of Galilee 1900 and some years ago. When He comes, there'll be peace, for He's the Prince of Peace. Unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon His shoulders. Name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of His government and peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David and upon His kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this. And the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. The calf and the lion and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them. The sucking child shall play on the hole of the ass, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockroach's den. They shall not hurt and destroy in all my holy mountain. The earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And the desert shall rejoice and blossom as a rose, and the land of Palestine shall become like the Garden of Eden. And every man will sit in his own vine and on his own fig tree, and none shall make him afraid. No more taxes and no more rented homes. And won't that be wonderful? Now Jesus speaks of Jewish signs over in Luke 21:24. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. This prophecy falls into 3 parts. First, they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they have been slain by the millions. Second, they shall be led away captive into all nations, and they have. For 1800 years the Jews had no home, no country, no capital, dispersed among the nations, but never absorbed, different from all other nationalities. You drive a Japanese away, he goes back to Japan. A Chinaman goes back to China. An Englishman goes back to England. A Frenchman goes back to France. An Italian goes back to Italy. But for nearly 2,000 years, when you drove a Jew away, he had nowhere to go. He was a strange man in a strange land. And note the 3rd part of the prophecy. I'd like for you to really look at this one. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. How long? Until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Had you forgotten that back in 1917, General Allenby marched from Egypt to Canaan with an army of 100,000 allies? And did you know he trailed the same path that Moses trod 3,400 years ago when he led the Hebrews from the land of bondage to the land of promise? And when the general reached the sacred wall, he removed his hat and got down on his knees for prayer. Then he arose and unfurled the Union Jack and marched in and took possession. The Turks and the Mohammedans surrendered without the firing of a gun. Why? The hour had come. Sir Herbert Samuels made High Commissioner, and he was the first Jew in 3,000 years since the reign of King Solomon to sway the power of life and death over the land of the prophets. And just after this, if you remember, the armistice was signed November 11, 1918, and World War I came to a close, and the Jews began to flow into Palestine. Then came World War II, and on May 15, 1948, Israel became a state, and now she is recognized among the nations of the earth. She has her own president, prime minister, army, navy, and air force. Since 1948, 1,200,000 Jews from 69 different countries have settled in the land of their fathers. We have more than 2 million Jews in Palestine tonight. You say, what does that mean? It means the budding of the fig tree, my friend. And if you don't have a wedding garment on tonight, you better find one. The sooner the better. You will always have these opportunities. This could be your last camp meeting. And you hadn't even stopped to think about it, some of you people. Then we note in the very next verse astronomical signs. Luke 21:25. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars. We read about this in both Testaments. Even back in Joel chapter 2 verses 10 and 11, and chapter 2 verses 30 and 31. In Acts 2:19 and 20, and Matthew 24:27, and verses 29 to 31, in Revelation 6:12 to 17, and chapter 8 verse 12, and 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, and verses 10 to 14. If you remember these passages that have to do with the astronomical signs of the end time. I was out in California back in 36 for the first time. I went up to Mount Wilson, had lunch there, observed the most powerful telescope then in use, with lens 100 inches in diameter. Astronomers said we can take this telescope and look into the universe 900 quintillions of miles. I said, what? They said we can take this telescope and pierce the heavenly bodies 900 quintillions of miles. Well, I learned when I was in school that it takes 100,000 miles to make a million, and 1,000 million to make a billion, and 1,000 billion to make a trillion, and 1,000 trillion to make a quadrillion, and 1,000 quadrillion to make 1 quintillion. But the astronomers said we can take old Hooker and look into the universe 900 quintillions of miles. That only lacks 100 quintillion being a sextillion. And I don't know how far that is, my friend. Don't come around to see me about it after the service, because I don't know. But back in the month of June a few years ago, in 32 I think it was, the leading astronomers of the earth met at Pasadena, headed by Sir James Hopewell Jeames from Great Britain, one of the world's most renowned astronomers. They went up to Mount Wilson, the body, and they took this same telescope and turned it upon the heavenly bodies and kept it there for 24 hours. And then to announce to the world the results of their findings. Came out in the newspapers, the magazines. I have it in my study. And this is what they said. The whole universe is expanding. And in time will burst like a bubble, be dissolved, vanish away. That was from James Hopewell Jeames from Great Britain. And it was really astounding. But it didn't bother me too much. I'd already heard about it. Old Peter had a telescope, if you remember, and his was more powerful than old Hook at Mount Wilson. And superior to Hale at Palomar. And he decided he'd turn his instrument on the heavenly bodies one day, and this is what he said he saw. The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night. Now, James Hopewell Jeames didn't see that. You know why he didn't? His telescope was too short. The day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. And seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, there wasn't a doubt in the apostles' mind. We've been to school today and we've learned better. You don't have to go to school very long to learn better, you know. You can hardly get through high school and you know more than Daniel and Moses and Solomon and Jesus ever knew. We have a marvelous school system in this country. But old Peter didn't get to go to school very much, so he didn't learn any better. Aren't you glad he didn't? He simply told us what the Holy Ghost showed him. The day of the Lord will come, skeptics or no skeptics, as a thief in the night. The heavens shall pass away with a great noise. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works therein shall be burned up. And seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be? Oh, brother, sister, we don't have any time left for foolishness. No time for frolic and for sin. It's time for revival. Time for a mourner's bench. Time for repentance and salvation and holiness and holy living. See that all these things shall be dissolved. What manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, that you may be found of him in peace, without spot, and blameless. That's the wedding garment. You have anything like that on tonight? You're going to soon need it. You better find an altar somewhere and go to digging. And keep on digging till you get to the bottom. You'll know when you get there, brother. You'll run into some fire. You'll see some sparks. The rocks down beneath the surface, down beneath the filth, the dirt, and the trash of this old world. The reason some of you people don't know whether you're saved or sanctified tonight, you haven't done enough digging. You shook the minister's hand, signed the card, and joined some church. But you missed the kingdom. And tonight you're on the outside. And Jesus is coming. He may come at any moment. What if he were to come tonight, this Saturday night, at this camp meeting? Astronomical signs of the end time. And then we read on, and upon the earth distress of nations. My, what a prophecy. I think Jesus saw the end from the beginning, don't you? And upon the earth distress of nations, with perplexity. The sea and the waves roar, that is, humanity will be disturbed. And what do we have tonight? Humanity's disturbed, nations distressed, and rulers perplexed, and they don't know what to do about it. They are helpless in the face of their own coming crisis. It's the next great event on the world's timetable. God grant that no one in this tabernacle shall miss it. It's going to be sad to miss it, my friends. God grant that no one here shall miss it. Men's hearts, verse 26, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things that are coming on the earth. Think of the suicides and the heart attacks in these last days. Both my father and my wife's father died of heart attacks. Disease number 1, you know. And the suicides, every 24 hours, more than 50 persons die by their own hand under the stars and stripes of America. Too much fear, too many things to look after. We can't take it. We weren't made to take it. So we go down beneath the strain of these days. It's one of the signs of the last days. I like verse 27, the next verse, Luke 21:27. And then shall they see the Son of Man. Would you love to see him? Not unless you have clean hands and a pure heart, brother. No, you don't want to see him. Then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. That's the way it went away from the Mount of Olives 1900 and some years ago. He's going away with a visible going, a literal going, a personal going, and so shall his return be. This same Jesus, which ye see going to heaven, shall so come. Note the adverb, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him going to heaven. Back to Luke 21:27, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. And then verse 28, when these things begin to come to pass. What things? The things I've been talking about. When these things begin to come to pass, and mark that word begin, and they've already begun. When these things begin to come to pass, what are we going to do? Throw our Bibles away? Fill our souls with trash from Hollywood? We're too near the end, brother, sister. You better be careful what you hear and what you see and what you take into your soul in these days, lest you miss the rapture. You say, brother so-and-so does it, and he's a good man. Sister so-and-so does it, and she's a good woman. You better get your eyes off of brother so-and-so and sister so-and-so. A lot of our brothers and sisters are not going to be ready when Jesus comes. If they are, God will have to write a new book. They're not in line with this standard. When these things begin to come to pass, look up. No time to look down, but look up. And lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. I believe the next great event on the world's timetable will be the coming of the heavenly bridegroom for the bride, the true church. What if it were tonight? Are you ready? You have on the wedding robe? Do you have clean hands and a pure heart? A heart from sin set free? Do you have all in your vessel, brother, sister? Your lamp trimmed and burning tonight? Oh, you say, I got in 30 years ago. Wonderful. Are you in tonight? Are you in tonight? Jesus is coming. when the king came in to see the guests, he saw the man who had on a wedding garment. And he said, "Friend, how camest thou in hither not having a wedding garment?" What did he say? He was speechless. You have your excuses tonight, but you won't have any when Jesus comes. You won't have a thing to say. You'll be speechless. Then said the king to the servants, "Take him, bind him hand and foot, cast him into outer darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Outer darkness. It means that expulsion of those outer, those neither regions, for the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the light of the stars shall never penetrate. Where the beautiful scenes of nature, the flowers of spring, a smile of friendship shall never greet the eye. Oh, God, save us from this place and from this darkness. Brother, sister, if you're not ready, let's get ready for Jesus and for the marriage supper and for the millennium. God bless your hearts tonight. Shall we bow our heads a moment? I haven't tried to stir your emotions tonight. I've just been stating very simple facts. I've dealt with some of the most simple prophecies that we find anywhere in the Bible, something that most anybody can understand. But what I want to know tonight, if you're not ready, would you like to be remembered in prayer? The camp will soon be over. The last benediction will soon be pronounced. And you're not satisfied about your relationship to God tonight. You're not real sure that you're saved or sanctified, but you have an honest heart. Would you like to be remembered in prayer while heads are bowed and eyes are closed and nobody looking? Are you concerned enough about your soul just to slip up your hand so I can see it? I'd like to see it. God bless you tonight. I see them. God bless you tonight. I see them. Are the others and you over there? Are the others? You have enough concern for your soul tonight. I see it. I see them. Enough concern for your soul just to slip up your hand and indicate by that. I have an honest heart and I'm not real sure about myself being ready for the coming of Jesus, but I'd like to know it beyond a doubt. And would you remember me in prayer? How many more hands could we see while heads are bowed? Anyone else? I see them. I see it, yes, over there. Are there others? While we pause another moment. While we pause another moment, anyone else? I see the hand and you over there. Tell you what I want you people to do while we stand and sing some selection. What are we going to sing, Joe?
Just as I am.
I wonder if we might sing Why Not Tonight, if you don't mind changing that. One reason I like this, they sang it for me back there when I was under conviction. I didn't have any excuse. I had no reason for not coming to Jesus that night, so I landed at the altar. And I don't think you have any reason for not coming either. A lot of you people need to come. You may not come, but God knows you need it. A lot of you church people need it. Some of you Sunday school teachers ought to be down at the altar tonight. You church officials ought to be down at the altar. It might not hurt some of you preachers. I know it's costly to break loose and come down, but it might not hurt some of you ministers to come down. It's going to be awful to miss the rapture. I wonder how long it's been since you've heard from heaven, since you've prayed through. You have the witness in your soul tonight that if Jesus were to come, the marriage supper would be yours. You have that witness down deep within tonight. Let's not take too much for granted. Let's be honest and do something about it while we have this opportunity. You won't always have it. You that lifted your hands, you have a need tonight. And you that didn't raise your hands, if you have a need, would you gather around the altar and let's close this service with prayer? How many will do it while we stand and sing? Everybody standing, please.
Oh, do not let the word depart, and close thine eyes against the light.